party's over, it's time to call it a day. They've burst your pretty balloon and taken the moon away. It's time to wind up the masquerade. Just make your mind up.
Some say this has been a dull convention, but not for me, as Gershwin wrote in another context. I found enormous energy here in New York. The Democrats are a party of great diversity, and the containment of the conflict among them has made coverage of this convention more subtle than usual, almost exquisite in the fine points that have disciplined the passions of these 3,000 delegates and countless camp followers. The Women's Caucus was the first to settle its grievances with Jimmy Carter, in chambers, out of court, with no fights on the floor for all the world to see. The Black Caucus was next to christen Jimmy Carter as the great compromiser.
Submit to him a list of positions, of concerns that has been described, at least at the Charlotte meeting, as a kind of survival, a kind of black survival list that will be submitted to him for his consideration and, of course, potential appointment in the event he is elected President of the United States.
The black press was angry that they were excluded, along with the rest of us, from meetings of the caucus. They threatened to retaliate.
And I have decided that we will recommend to our newspapers that since the Democratic Caucus has decided to exclude the black press, that we will exclude them in the coverage in our newspapers.
The convention had pizzazz, but it also had its great and powerful moments. Barbara Jordan's keynote address confirmed her moral authority in American politics. Her impact on this convention hasn't been seen, I imagine, since Eleanor Roosevelt addressed a fractious Democratic Party in 1940. There was strong, wistful sentiment to make her vice president. The Congresswoman understood the unreality of it and refused to make herself a symbol. The press gathered early to hear Jimmy Carter's decision. I was reminded once again of 1964, when Lyndon Johnson appeared dramatically at the Democratic Convention in Atlantic City to announce that he had chosen, quote, my longtime, my highly respected, my deeply revered colleague, Hubert H. Humphrey of the great state of Minnesota. Jimmy Carter named his Minnesota running mate with characteristic dispatch.
I've informed this morning at 8:30 Senator Mondale of my preference. He was already awake when I called him. And he graciously agreed to run with me.
To be selected as a vice presidential running mate at any time is a high honor and a great challenge. There is nothing more personal and perhaps more subjective than the judgment of the kind that Governor Carter had to make. And I wanted the choice to be his choice. If it was to be me, I would be highly honored. If it were someone else, I would support the ticket fully. But I did not want to campaign for it or appear to be campaigning for the job.
Some of the losers showed up later at a fundraising luncheon and seemed not much worse for the wear. George McGovern got in a bitter comment that he asked both Mondale and Muskie to join his ticket after the Eagleton fiasco in 1974, but neither would do it. Bob Strauss was in high dudgeon, and so was New York Mayor Abe Beame. At Madison Square Garden, the Texas reviews were mostly good for Carter Mondale. This is Senator Oscar Mosey. What do you think of the ticket, Senator?
I think it's a fine ticket. I think it balances geographically. Each lends strength to the other. Senator Mondale brings the Washington experience that Governor Carter has indicated he needed and wanted. Governor Carter brings the new look to American politics that I think represents an awful lot of people's thinking that they want someone new, a new face and some new ideas.
You think it'll run well in Texas?
Yes, I do. I think we're going to do very well in Texas.
Oh, I think it will. I think it'll do all right. I'm not too enthused. Mondale is fine, and Carter is in. I wasn't, particularly for Carter. I would have liked to see Brown in it. However, he's in, and I will support him.
lovely ticket. Beautiful. Nothing wrong with it.
Is this your first choice?
Well, no, my first choice was really Muskie. But Mondale's all right.
Robert DeLuna of San Antonio, what do you think of the ticket?
I think the ticket is a good balanced ticket, and I think that Jimmy Carter has selected his nominee very carefully, and I think that, it will go very far.
I think it's a great ticket. Really do. Very pleased.
Mondale was my choice when it was narrowed to Muskie and Mondale. I think that Governor Carter met extensively with Senator Mondale, and they don't have any problems on any of the major issues, and I know that Mondale will be a tough campaigner and work hard, and I think the two of them will be successful across the country and in Texas.
Governor,
his primary had a major impact on both parties. It was a turning point for Governor Carter's campaign. It was one of the primaries that really brought him to the forefront. Also in the Republican primary, certainly it was a turning point for Governor Reagan's campaign when he swept Texas and took all the delegates. He was just about out of the race until the Texas primary put him back in. So I think the people of Texas, through that primary, were able to have a great impact, as great an impact, perhaps greater than any other state. In a political race, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. You can't have a proportionate chief executive. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. And I think that's just, to me, that's the name of the game.
what about winner take all?
Well, of course, I'm personally opposed to winner take all and always have been. As you know, I served on the McGovern Commission when we rewrote the party rules, and we tried to outlaw it then. This is the final step to once and for all kill it.
The new primary rules follow Oscar Mazzei's thinking. So does the choice of Fritz Mondale. But there's much here to make Dolph Briscoe happy, too. And that's the real story of the Democratic National Convention, 1976. Thanks for the use of the hall.
All together, shout it now, there's no one who can doubt it now. So let's tell the world about it now. Happy days.